I'm not going to do an introduction because not a lot of time and lots to talk about. So, Aline, I'm going to jump in first with you. Can you just frame this debate for us? Why do you all believe that AI is no longer optional for startups? What are you seeing?
I'm just like to frame that in that way. Every business requires information. Information requires knowledge, requires data. And AI is the best and the most powerful technology that can diffuse that in theoretically every domain. So if you think today, any business that is touching a digital interface or needs to digitize its physical operation, I think the maturity or the level where we are going with AI, it becomes paramount to this business to pursue efficiency, cost reductions, better insights, better ways to operate, because this technology can help them to achieve that.
Great. Juan Pablo, you're quite bullish about the possibilities of AI. I wanted to know, do you think it has the power to help somebody in this audience today become the founder of a one-person unicorn, one-employee unicorn?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to have a one-person unicorn. I think to create a company, you need a complete set of teams. But what I do believe is that you're going to need less people to do a lot more. What we're seeing today, we're not seeing that someone is becoming 500% more efficient, but we are seeing that with the use of AI, developers can be maybe 30, 40% more efficient. So for sure, there are so many things that today you had to do manually, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to use AI to do some of these things automatically. So your team should be able to be more efficient. You should be able to serve your customers better using AI tools to improve customer experience. And you also should be better. You should be able to produce better code in the software developing through AI tools that can help you do unit testing, that can help you reduce errors, manual errors that happen today. So there is definitely many things that any founder can do to use AI and improve, become more efficient, or become a little bit more productive.
Great. Xavier, can you talk about what you're seeing as the next big frontier in AI and what you've been focusing on? I heard you talking previously about synthetic data, about LLMs actually being able to interpret and understand the world in real time, which currently having difficulties, and hallucinations.
AI, every day we are surprised by what new technologies the different companies, and not only the big companies, but also small players are able to do, thanks to all this open source movement that has been pushing things forward. I think that synthetic data is one of them. We are seeing higher and higher and higher quality synthetic data. This is also pushed by the fact that we have sort of still an unknown status of, okay, is it legitimate to use real data from the internet to train things, right? So I think the answer is, okay, let's generate synthetic data that is of the same quality or better, and let's get past this, right? I think what we are looking at is very hyper-personalized AI that allows the users, the language learners of our app, to have a real good conversation with the AI. And what I mean is a real good is not just one that, okay, it feels good, no, but something that will help them improve on their journey to learn. So I think this is coming there. A few years ago, it was unthinkable to have anything like that. And last year, it started to become a reality, and we are doing steps and more steps towards having this really like as if you had a real tutor that knows you and can actually walk with you on this path.
Aline, do you agree with Xavier on the synthetic data?
Actually, sorry, not. Look, this thing about the quality of the synthetic data, actually, if you think about it, is one of the things which a lot of people from the AI community who is really building models and products, they are watching and scared of misuse and abuse. Because, I can even, there was a recent interview of Meta's chief data scientist, Yann LeCun, who is a renowned researcher in the field of LLMs. And he was even talking about that. People everybody who is in this industry like us, doing real research and development, the Gen AI, they can produce very convincing outputs, and they can dazzle everyone because the learning mechanism, you're just training and repeating the patterns. But to the points that we were talking, and Juan, you're talking about a future where, there are some tasks that could think about use less human intensive, but humans, we have this ability to learn a lot from minimal data and perform abductive reasoning. Abductive reasoning is when you need to guess, or you need the ability to make logical explanations out of a minimal data, and some even experiential, which these Gen AIs, they lack fundamentally, and they're a problem in many fields, including ours, healthcare. So it is more or less like that. I think synthetic data can produce and dazzle, but I mean, I just would be careful to declare that this is going to solve a lot of issues, and every company will no longer need any human in the loop. I still believe that we still need humans in the loop in order to make the hygiene sometimes of what this data and what this brain that we are building thinks of.
And to be clear, I don't think Xavier was saying that it will be the panacea that will solve everything. We're just maybe more optimistic about the possibilities.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
So, I mean, to answer to this, I mean, very well, I think we still need to see practical uses of synthetic data that work in all cases. Okay, so I take that, right? But with AI, Andrew Ng has been talking for a few months now about agents, and this is an area where, with technology like reflection, an AI model will give you an answer. A second AI model will look at that answer, reflect on it, and give you how that answer can be improved or why is it wrong, and then you can iterate on that. So with that and other techniques, we will get very far. And we are not there. There is a long way to go. I mean, and luckily, I think it's really both scary and really like amazing to see how AI is paving its way. I mean, there's no way to stop it now.
But I think today you're seeing like real life results. So Klarna just released the results of a test they did where they're able with an AI agent to replace like 700 customer service people while maintaining satisfaction, while selling more. So I do think that today you have use cases that are completely crazy, and that if you think about it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they were maybe something that we couldn't, or we didn't think was possible. And we are at, we're using maybe the 4th generation. When you think about what's next, what happens when ChatGPT 5 comes out? How is it going to be different? Because if you see the progress of looking at the first GPT-1 to looking at GPT-4, it's completely different. So what's coming and the speed how these things are becoming much better, maybe even adding reasoning, you could see that there are real life impact in businesses that you're going to be seeing not in years, but in months.
Do you think, Juan Pablo, that AI is something that's going to help level the playing field between big and small players, or do you think it's something that's going to differentiate and make the big players even more powerful and create more differentiation?
Look, 100%. I think there are 2 parts here. Number one is language. There was a language barrier. Like if you were a developer, maybe like in Colombia or somewhere, the reality is that you couldn't maybe produce content or produce a website for maybe a US consumer or European consumer. Today, one of the things I think generative AI does really well is being able to translate and generate content in any language. So if you're making a website in a small place in Colombia, it used to be really hard to take that to make it globally and to be in 100 languages. Today, you can do that easily with AI. And then the other part is that there was many times that if you wanted to build something, you needed a lot of people to actually build it. And not only because of Gen AI, but there have been many software as a service. I think a great example is Uno. Today, you can do one integration into Uno, and you're able to process payments around the world. And you can use 150 different providers. This is something that would have taken you a team of 50 people. So that plus Gen AI is enabling small players to actually compete around the world. And the other thing is that before, like if you were a company in Latin America, if you were a company in Brazil, in Colombia, going global, it was really hard. And this is something that doesn't matter anymore. Like, we're a Colombian company, we're a Latin America company, and today we're competing globally with players in the US, players in Europe. And it's not only because of AI, it's a bunch of different reasons, but it's making it easier for those underserved countries or countries that you thought were gonna have maybe like a small company to actually build a global company that is competing around the world.
I would say that when comparing small companies with big companies, who is AI helping the most? I think is generally helping the most the small companies or those individuals that first, before, when they had a very difficult, very high cost of entry to get something out there. Right now, a person or a team of people with an idea, they can use the different AI models available, coding or ways to do prompting on the back to enhance their product in a way that they are going to go faster in adapting the product to the market than the bigger companies that sometimes they already have so many customers and they cannot do those changes, so dramatical changes to their product as they would like to, or they just are just slower, right? So I think that's maybe not a one-person unicorn, but a few people disrupting any possible area. I think it's totally possible, and we are seeing it.
Yeah.
Aline, do you have any specific examples? Maybe because you said you can't use AI to solve everything right now. There's still certain areas that have a long way to go. There's certain industries that aren't as useful. Are there certain examples of cases where people, other startups that were doing something maybe wrong or right that was surprising, that was really either a lesson that the audience can take away?
I mean, well, so many cases. Trying to build on the previous question too. It's very simple. So you have a layer of what we define as foundational model companies, like OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, Bard. Those are all companies which debut foundational. And what are foundational models? Is models which are pre-trained in very clean, heterogeneous data structure and can answer a variety of tests and questions. I think that in the field of search, right, which is what OpenAI and Bard or these models, they have good quality data, they have been training. It's going to be for a smaller startup to try to conquer that. It's going to be harder because it costs like $10 million to spin out one of these models. It's expensive game, right? And not all investors, especially seed or early stage investors, we are still finding them out, but there is not a large community. Definitely not in Brazil. The second thing is, I do believe, however, that in verticals which you require very specialized domains, like healthcare or where we are trying to conquer in the ag, you still have chances, but it requires also methods. And I think to your question, okay, who is doing wrong and who is doing right? I think who is doing right? Companies that understand this game, that don't bullshit in their pitch deck, hey, I'm going to do a foundational large language model and this is going to be a differentiation. Yes, I think there is a lot of entrepreneurs that, like blockchain was like early, they didn't even understand how this technology actually was powerful. Sometimes they didn't, but they were misusing and abusing. So chill, because building these models and playing in the AI field requires a lot of data, requires mathematicians, statisticians. It's a different level than the classic SaaS. But that does not mean that if you are an AI-enabled company, you are not delivering value. And to your point, I think that anyone that can build a product doesn't need to be a model, can literally, maybe an agent. If you're a great prompt engineer, and you did an agent out of ChatGPT or any of the models, and this is something that people loves and uses, you can become a one founder, one people company unicorn because of the adoption. The loss of the, I would say, business and entrepreneurship one-on-one apply here. I just feel that there is a bunch of people saying that they are AI company. It needs to define in what? I mean, AI enabled, if you're foundational, if you're infrastructure, databases, MLOps, which I think that's where it's got murky.
Thanks.
No, I want to just, a great example of how things have changed within the years. 10, 15 years ago, Elon Musk wanted to build the best automaker, and he created Tesla, and nobody believed that he was going to be able to compete against the big automakers. Today, Tesla is one of the most valuable automakers, and is making thousands and millions of cars. Now, today, you have BYD taking over Tesla. So if you take this example in something that is a little bit boring, which is automaking, and you're seeing that the small guys are able to compete and actually become bigger than the big guys, AI is going to help any founder build a global and really big company. So I think it was impossible to do it a couple of years ago. We're seeing real life examples without even having to add a lot of AI. If you put AI into a mix, this is going to basically give the tools that anyone in this room can or needs to be able to create the next big and bigger company to compete the current bigger company.
That's important. The idea is important, right? Mm-hmm. If you have the idea, the tools are there.
Yep.
Like these companies that now are trying to take over Google, right? I mean, having the idea, having Gen AI and having LLMs, how can you improve search?
I mean, I coded for the first time in my life because of ChatGPT, and I was like, this is a superpower. Like, this is incredible. I can't believe that I'm able to do this with very little background understanding. We've been talking a lot about from the C-suite perspective of startups, and I want to switch now to talking from the perspective of labor and society in general. Juan Pablo, this question's for you. You know, for many years now, gig work, tech startups have been the focus of a lot of criticism. They've been saying that they're causing societal impacts, they're making labor markets more precarious and making life difficult for the workers. And there's been, you know, legislative battles in Brazil recently about this with Uber. Now there's even prominent supporters of AI who are saying that, you know, this could be putting a lot of people out of work. It could be, particularly in the white collar and not blue collar field this time. And I want to know, and that maybe that, you know, it's doubling down on the precarization that from the gig economy and then making this for an AI question as well. Is this something that concerns you? Is this something that we should be taking measures to deal with?
Look, I think it's the other way. I don't think AI is going to take on jobs. I think some areas are going to shift. And what I see and I'm seeing today is that AI is going to make workers and people more productive, and they're going to be able to upskill what they do. So to give an example, if you have a South American call center that today is only handling maybe chats in Spanish, now with AI, they're going to be able to do support in more languages because you have something in the middle that is helping you talk in the language and the way people want to be talked in different countries. On top of that, today you have kind of like different levels of like customer service agents. So you have kind of the level 1 that I answer simple questions and you start going up. AI is going to enable all those level 1 agents to be able to be level 5, level 4. They're going to be able to upskill what they need. So I think AI is an opportunity to actually increase the productivity of the workforce. And if we have a workforce that is more productive, we should have a bigger economy and it should make basically the pie bigger for everyone. And I don't think it's actually going to be a problem where like AI is going to take all over the jobs. It's the other way around. AI is going to make us more productive. They're going to make the pie bigger for everyone. And I think we have to focus on that and not focus on like, people are going to lose their job. No, let's focus on how do we train the people that maybe their job is going to change from A to B, but that B is going to actually make them more productive.
And it's about the superpower as well, as you were saying, right? So when you, as an employee, take on AI and that makes you more productive, you are using that superpower that AI is giving you to do your job easier and faster and better, whatever, right? So that's going to make you, set you apart from the employee next to you that says, no, I don't want to learn this new thing. I don't know. I'm doing my job very well. You know, that guy is probably going to lose his job if a lot of people start using that superpower. Now, does it mean that we're going to have a lot more unemployment? I don't think so, because those superpowers are creating more jobs, are creating more opportunities.
I think they are changing. It's not, look, think what is happening now. Models, they require, AI is theoretically is a brain. You need data, you need information. And I think what is gonna, I agree with what Javier and Juan is saying about a change in the skills in the labor market that will change how some jobs today are defined and what you need to know to perform that activity. Definitely some analytical tasks, no way. I mean, you will need to understand this technology. But however, you will have an emerging economy. Most of these AI big tech companies, they are getting their data from third world countries because they are paying people where they have the cheap labor sources to label data to train these AIs. Right? And I think this is what is happening in this dynamic, which to your point should be concerned or should be watched. I mean, I don't have to the extent, but definitely this economic shift is going to happen around it, in my opinion.
Well, I have a lot more follow-up questions, but we're out of time, so we have to get off the stage. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.